Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Before I dive on into today's review, do want to remind you if you enjoy the Gaming Gang and would like to support the outlet, you can do so in a couple of ways. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal, or you can become a monthly member of our Patreon. And you can find links to those in the show notes. Also, down in the show notes, you will find an invite link to our Discord server. It's absolutely free to join, so be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. Today, I am going to be reviewing Weird Heroes of Public Access, the role-playing game from Get Haunted Industries and Exalted Funeral. This 110-page A5 size hardcover is available now, carries an MSRP of $35. If you want to score just the PDF alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $20. Having said all that, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Weird Heroes of Public Access. A couple of things to mention before we jump on in. First of all, my friends over at Exalted Funeral were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a good feel for what you're going to find inside Weird Heroes of Public Access. We're going to start off by taking a look at the credits page. Let's give credit to the fine folks who brought this to life, including its author, Reverend Joey Royale. If you're not familiar with Weird Heroes of Public Access, this is a very, very rules-light role-playing game. The player characters are hosts at a public access channel in a small town called Fairhaven. This is supposed to be taking place probably late 80s, early 90s, when public access was a pretty big thing for a lot of communities. And there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the town of Fairhaven. You've got different weird creatures, aliens, juvenile delinquents. You've got mothers who want to shut down the cable access channel. And like I said, the player characters are hosts, Channel 13, and they are looking to investigate all these weird goings on. And you will take on the role of, say, maybe the host of a monster movie show or a religious program or an exercise show. So you've got a few different options available to you as far as your character's archetype. Every one of the characters does have some sort of supernatural power. So I thought that was kind of funny. There is a lot of leeway as far as the supernatural powers. So the player and the game master, who is known as the station manager in this case, are going to work together to come up with something that's going to be unique, going to be fun, but not necessarily too powerful. That kind of upsets the balance of the game. So as I mentioned, this is super rules light. So what you're looking at is each of the characters are going to have 4 skills. In other games, we would normally call these attributes, but here they're called skills. And it is a dice pool system. You're going to use 6-sided dice. Each of your skills, we have body, mind, mouth, and soul, will have a score. Now, you'll always get to roll 1 6-sided die no matter what in order to attempt to succeed at what you're trying to do, known as a check. You'll get your free die, and then you're going to add the number of dice equal to your skill. So as an example, let's say you've got a body of 1 and you're in a fist fight. Well, you're going to roll your body. It's a body check. Now, you're not playing hockey, but it's a body check. You would get your free die. I already said you got a body of 1, so you get an extra die. You're going to roll those 2 6-sided dice, and you're looking for 5s and 6s for successes. Now, if at any time you roll all 1s with your dice, then you're looking at actually losing a point of hope. So with your characters, like your hit points, your sanity, your hope, essentially, is all tied up in the hope stat. Humans start with 6, and when you take damage, and you can take hope damage, such as like sanity loss would be in other games too. If you reach 0 hope, then you're going to be looking at either being unconscious or dead, or maybe you've come to your senses and you realize none of the weird goings on are strange at all. Quite a lot to work with there as far as deciding what happens to the player character. So it's not necessarily, oh, you hit 0 hope, you're dead. So there is that. But the reality is, those are the rules. The rules take up all of about 4 pages. The rest of the book is dedicated to the weird goings on in Fairhaven, and you'll see a lot of the various different graphics here kind of look like advertisements you would have seen in community newspapers, or in Chicago, what we used to refer to as neighborhood newspapers. So different ads for local businesses. Some of these also look like TV guide ads. Back in the day, when you'd go and pick up the Sunday newspaper, which everyone did because they wanted to get the ads for various sales and things like that, but they also wanted to get the TV guide for the week to see what was on TV. Those TV guides would have a lot of community ads in them, and you will see that throughout. Weird Heroes of Public Access has a fun vibe to it. I will say I do think it's just maybe a little too light as far as its approach to action resolution. I mean, like I said, including combat, which combat doesn't even take up a full page in the rules here, it is really, really abstract. Now, some people might like that, other people may not. Something else I do want to point out is this has a bit of an art punk vibe. I am not a fan of art punk. Yes, I do like Morkborg, or if you follow the Gaming Gang, you know I always refer to it as Morkborg. I don't necessarily dig a lot of the third-party products that have come out since Morkborg came out, because they just tend to be a bunch of strange artwork and very little game material. I'm not going to go as far as saying that this is like that, but there are a lot of pages devoted to things that have really nothing to do with the game. So we will see a variety of various iterations of this image. And it's supposed to be something that may have been seen on the channel. Maybe people were imagining things. It's just this kind of oddball, weird image, but we see it multiple times, variations of it. I would have preferred to see material that I can use at the game table as opposed to that. I will also point out that some of the ideas about what's going on in Fairhaven are fairly fleshed out, and other items are just kind of ideas, kind of nuggets. We will see some of the creatures, some of the odd, strange goings on, some of the beasts that are roaming, aliens, possibly. Maybe we've got ghosts. There's a lot of different things that are happening in Fairhaven. Some of these things we'll get stat blocks for, others we don't. We just get kind of a description of what's going on, and then that's it. This really does have a hodgepodge presentation throughout. Like I said, Weird Heroes of Public Access is fun. There are some funny things in here that I actually kind of chuckled at. And then there's things where it's like, well, I'd like to see more game here. I'd like to see more gameable material throughout. As an example, here's another of that variation on that image, and we will see it throughout this book. So just kind of give you a peek inside. Like I said, some things that are going on in Fairhaven will get a bit of detail. We might get a couple of pages devoted to, and then other things we might just get a reference to in an advertisement. Kind of a mixed bag all throughout. But I could see playing this and having a pretty good time as just a one shot or maybe a really short campaign of just a few sessions where the different hosts from Channel 13 are trying to save Fairhaven from the diabolical schemes that are going on. But this isn't something that I could see continuing to play for months at a time throughout a lot of different sessions of gameplay. All in all, I do recommend Weird Heroes of Public Access. I just don't give it a very high recommendation. That is a peek inside. Let's swing on over to the other camera. I'm going to share some final thoughts as well as my review score. So I've pretty much covered the bases here with Weird Heroes of Public Access. I chuckled at some things that are going on. I think the whole premise is pretty cool. I grew up during the period that this is supposed to be set. And it's kind of funny because it's not set during a specific year or year range. It's supposed to be kind of a vibe that you get from it, which is late 80s, early 90s. And I like that. What I would have liked to have seen is more of a game here. As far as the actual mechanics, the rules of the role-playing game, they take up all of like 4 pages at most. It's very, very abstract. Combat is very simple. Doesn't matter if you were shooting somebody or hitting somebody with a bat, you're going to roll your body check and you're going to roll your 1d6. So I thought that was a little bland as far as that goes. But all in all, I could see some people really digging this. And then I could see some people, especially game masters who don't have a lot of experience running games, who would be drawn to this because it is a pretty bizarre subject and it is a very unique role-playing game. Looking at this and just scratching their heads and wondering, what am I supposed to do with this? That's it? That's all of the rules? There isn't a real adventure in here. It's just a lot of various different things kind of being thrown at the wall to see what sticks. Some stuff gets stat blocks, other stuff just gets a description. Might be kind of confusing for those who are relatively new to the hobby. So at the end of the day, I give Weird Heroes of Public Access a 6 out of 10. It's fine. It's okay. I think it's a real lost opportunity here. I think this could have been something really special, but it's just all right. That is it for this time out. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for our latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.